Welcome to the Wrexham Coffee Matchup. I'm Dave.
And I'm Courtney. Each week, we'll take a few minutes to catch up on the latest news from Wrexham. From matchups to transfers, on and off the pitch, we'll share our takes on it all.
So grab a coffee and join us. So before we get into the details of this week's match, we're 2 weeks into the season. How are we feeling at this point?
So for me, I came in, I have only seen one match so far. I saw a replay of the cup match, but this was the first match that I was watching live. The very first match of the season, I was driving back from vacation. The second match wasn't live on air, so this was the first time that I was seeing some of the players and matching faces to names. How about you?
Overall, I feel pretty good. You think we would be a little disappointed having lost the first two matches of the season, but there's a lot. We're playing incredibly well. We're starting to gel together as a team, and I feel like we're starting to show some spark of what the team could become in the coming weeks. So I'm very hopeful, and I think that we have shown that we belong in the championship and that we're going to be fighting through the whole season.
I agree. I think, if you would have asked, how would you like to be 3 matches in, 2 league matches and a cup match? Would you like to be with only one win amongst those? No, but I think the way that we've been playing, I think we've looked very strong. I think we've had, some new matchups, some new sort of teams within our team kind of emerging and starting to see what those are going to look like over the course of the season.
Do you want to share the funny little comment that you made at the beginning of the match?
So, the videographers show the different players, right? Usually as action is taking place. And they kept showing this very handsome man, wind blowing in his hair at every chance that they could. And I thought, who is this? And it was Keiffer Moore. So it's very nice to see some of our new players.
See his $2.5 million head of hair, right?
Exactly. So, speaking of our impressions from the season, how are you feeling about our last match against West Brom?
Disappointed, of course. But I think the first half, we really played very well. I think we were showing a lot of spark. The combination of Keiffer Moore and Josh Windass is starting to look like a really strong partnership, almost on the level of what Ollie and Mullen had very early on in their relationship. It was sad to see as they were starting to get their groove and really starting to make an impact on the game that it came to a halt at 29 minutes when Windass got injured. Hopefully it's just a minor hamstring pull and not a serious injury. But I can't wait to see him back on the field and watch them play some more together.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of can't wait to see people back on the field, I was very surprised about the very first season matchup with Arthur Okonkwo not in goal. Like I said, I was in the car. I was driving back from our vacation. And, I'm still learning the new players' names, and it took me probably 10 minutes because I hadn't heard Mark Griffiths talk through the starting lineup to realize that Danny Ward was our goalkeeper to remember. And so I was surprised with everything that we had, heard and read and listened to about Arthur to not see him starting. What are your thoughts on that throughout the season and then in this last matchup as well?
I was surprised to not see Arthur in goal as well, too, because I think everyone just assumed that Danny Ward was brought in to back up Arthur. There was a lot of talk that Arthur might get called up to play in the Africa's Cup later this season. And so we needed a high-level goalkeeper to be able to step into his shoes. But I saw an interview with Parky the other day on Friday before the match, and he hinted in his conversation that Danny Ward was brought in to be the number one. He didn't say it in those exact words, but that was kind of the implications of when Ward decided where to come. He turned down a lot of really good offers to be someone's second or third so that he could come to Wrexham. So I think it's early. And I think as we saw, Ward had great moments in both matches. Arthur played really well in the cup. So I think over the next few weeks, we'll see sort of how that balances out and who ends up kind of taking on the lead responsibility as we go forward.
How about other names on the pitch?
The thing that I liked the most about this week is that it wasn't all about the new people, right? I mean, we have with 9 new signings, and I think there was 5 or 6 of them on the field this week and several more last week. It's easy to get swept away with all the new guys. And yet what really impressed me was the combination of Max and Ryan Barnett and George Dobson and how they gelled with the rest of the players in almost a natural way. Barney has been on fire the last couple of weeks, just like showing that he could be a championship player, if not better. And Max, having grown up through Wrexham Academy, it's amazing to see him, and he'll be, when we get to the Premier League, he will definitely be there with them. And Dobson, they rewound up that Energizer Bunny after a little slow period, and he was just in and out the center of the field everywhere, keeping his ponytail perfectly intact the whole time.
Yeah, I think with so many new names, something that I really like when I'm looking at the starting lineup is at least some of that familiarity, because we feel like we know them. And so to see them playing and to see them like stepping on the pitch and doing so well, I really love to see it.
So how did you feel about the general energy levels of the team kind of over the course of the 90 minutes?
I gotta say, I was a bit surprised. And if I think back to the last couple of years, it kind of seems like we've had the opposite problem. We've taken the first half to get our energy. It's like the first half has been the warm-up. And then our energy kicks in and we remember why we've come on the pitch in the first place. And it feels like this year at the start of the season so far, we've got the opposite problem. We come flying out of the gates with a lot of energy, with a lot of spirit. And somewhere after halftime, sometime close to the end of the match, it's like everybody's legs are running out of steam. I know we're up against some really high level teams this year, and it just looks like we've used up all of our energy in that beginning part of the match.
Right, and that brings up a point that my main niggle from the match this week is the waiting to make the substitutions until it's possibly too late, right? So Sam Smith came in at 80 something minutes, and it took him a good 10 minutes because he's still recovering. He's still getting up to speed. He didn't really have a preseason. And so it took until the 94th minute before he knocked that header into the goal and started to infuse some energy back into the game. If he had come in 10 minutes earlier, would the outcome have been different? Or if someone else or more people had come in, Elliot Lee made a huge impact at the cup match, scoring the first goal back home in the racecourse ground of the year. He could have come in and possibly done similar in this match. And so it would have been nice to see a little more variety and a quicker move to the substitutions.
Yeah. Was it too little? Was it too late?
Right. And that's something I guess we'll keep an eye on this week to see if they make adjustments faster.
Yeah, I think it's really going to be, there are so many new names, right? And I think trying to figure out which are the combinations that work the best is something that's going to take some time. Like you said, not everybody had a full off season to practice together, a full preseason. Some players have just been signed in the last couple of days even. And so there are so many unknowns at this point.
The turnaround of Friday's announcement of Nathan Broadhead joining the team for a whopping £10 million.
What did you think about that?
I see what they're doing. It's a lot of money, and we saw him for a few minutes, and so we didn't really get a chance to see yet what that's going to mean, right?
So you say you see what they're doing. What do you think they're doing? Because I have a whole spiel, but what do you think that they're doing?
Well, let's hear your spiel, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Okay, my spiel. It's a lot of money. And great, you go up in the different levels, you bring in more money, you have a lot of opportunities for other things, but it's a lot of money. And I just can't help but think, is that the best place to be spending it? Why are we trying to rush to the Premier League? There was a lot of talk about this word consolidation last season. But honestly, I just question, is all of the infrastructure in place? I mean, the Kop is still being built. It is one of the stadiums with the smallest capacity. How can we support a premier level team with the current stadium, with the current office space, with the current practice fields and, surrounding facilities or not, at a team that's at that level? It's just, it's a lot.
It's
a lot of
yes,
money to be spending for what we don't know is going to happen, but what feels like, is it just to make history again? Is it just to be able to, check that off on a checklist?
Yeah, it's interesting because 9 signings over the summer, already that's like bringing in an entire new team. It means that players that we formed attachments to are going to be sidelined or sent off on loan or released from their contracts. And we haven't even gotten a chance to really see what some of these signings could do yet. And so then to up the stakes and bring in a $10 million prize or £10 million prize, it will be interesting to see what that brings and how that changes the team. But for instance, like we haven't even really seen much of Ryan Hardie yet, and he was the first signing of the summer. Yeah, he did make the trip to Australia, and he showed that he has sort of like the speed of a Paul Mullen, and he can kind of zoom in and kind of get some goals. But there's so many people who can now do that and to score, being able to give them a chance to show what they can do, it's going to take a lot longer, I think.
Mm-hmm. A lot longer, and time is what we don't really have.
Not sitting at the bottom of the table, that's for sure.
Well, not sitting at the bottom of the table, but also in terms of if you're going to bring in more people and you want to see how they work together with the team, you've got to make decisions. There's a limited time they can bring in more people, and then there's a time that they're going to have to cut people from the team. And the more people you bring in, the more people you've got to release. And so how are you going to know which are the people and which are the groups that make the most sense to keep?
Which brings up our really big topic of the week.
Yeah.
Our 6'5" topic of the week is
towering topic.
He is in that exact situation right now. September 1st is looming. That's when the transfer window closes. Shortly after that, we have to submit the official team roster for the year. But yet, thinking that he had played his last match way back in January, he made the commitment over the summer to train, to fight, to earn a spot on the team. And then on Tuesday's cup match, what happened?
He came in, talk about out the gate, talk about bringing in magic, undisputed man of the match, hero of Wrexham, equalizing not just 1, but 2 goals so that we could go to the penalty shootout. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch it live, and to go back and watch the replay of it, to be listening to it was exhilarating, was really, really exhilarating. And I have to say, I was a couple things. One, I was a bit shocked not to see him then on the lineup, on the bench, anywhere for Saturday's match.
Right.
That I was really shocked about. But, David, you and I have talked a lot over the last couple of months of first our heartache at Stephen Fletcher no longer being in the team, but also what was the role that he played and who could step in to fill his shoes. He would come in late in the game, fresh legs, with his leadership, his skill, and score goals to seal the deal for, so many different matches. And we were really hoping that could potentially be a role for Ollie Palmer. And he did that. He showed that he is capable of doing that. So I was a bit disappointed to have, a match on Saturday where he wasn't even on the bench to give him that opportunity to prove himself.
So if Tuesday was Ollie's last match, and I personally hope it was not, he came in having lost his number, no longer number 9, reverted back to number 35. stood up, did the job. If that was the last time we see him, that is one heck of a way to go out. Shows other teams exactly what he could do for them. But I'm hoping, at least at the minimum, that we see him again on the Cup match on the 26th. I'd like to see him before then, next Saturday. I think he could have made an impact on last Saturday's game. He could have brought an energy. But if we see him again one more time, maybe that will make the decision very hard for Parky. Maybe it will be I need to find a role for this guy because he deserves to be here. That's my hope.
Yeah, and I think it's clear you wouldn't have a player that's only going to come in cup matches. But if you have someone who can consistently step up in those occasions, maybe, you do need to think about a bigger role for him. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So next up for the team, our next league match is Saturday, the 23rd of August against Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday is the team that Josh Windass transferred from to come to Wrexham over the summer. They've been having a very difficult summer. They're currently in the middle of a ban on transfers. They're not allowed to take loans. They've lost a lot of their contract players over the summer, so I'd be curious to see what kind of team they bring. And they're bringing them into the racecourse ground, which will hopefully keep up the energy and give our guys the boost we need to bring home our first win of the season.
After that, a couple days later, on Tuesday, the 26th of August, we have our second round of the Cup against Preston North End. They're another championship team, and we will be up against them, I think, 3 times this season. So a lot to look forward to in the next couple days. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for joining us this week. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
You can also email us at wxmcoffeematchup@gmail.com. All one word, that's wxmcoffeematchup@gmail.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at wxmcoffeematchup.
From the cop to your coffee cup, that's all for today's Wrexham Coffee Matchup. Keep it brewing, keep it red, and as always, up the town.